So that was Susan Collins, and those were her constituents making their discontent with the Republican senator from Maine heard loud and clear. That was the reception she got while attending a ribbon-cutting ceremony from the voters who have elected her to the Senate 5 times now. To be fair, those same Maine voters have never elected Donald Trump statewide. Maybe she should examine why that would be, that they'd be so unhappy. But we'll show you some places that actually have. This is Ohio, at Republican Congressman Warren Davidson's town hall meeting. That's a state that voted for Donald Trump by more than 11 points last year. We'll let you hear what his voters think of his vote on Donald Trump's signature domestic spending bill.
The big, beautiful bill is projected to take Medicaid away from as many as 500,000 people. How will you explain your vote to the people who will no longer be able to afford to see their doctor?
As I said early on, the only people who are losing access to Medicaid aren't affected in Ohio because we didn't add illegals to Medicaid coverage. And able-bodied working-age adults. And I honestly think most of them will still keep access to Medicaid because they'll probably get a job. Or they'll probably go to school. And lots of people are hiring, so I think most of them aren't going to lose anything. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Like, nobody thinks that's the case, that it's, quote, going to be great. Now, those voters were so done with him, they filed out while he was still speaking. But there's more. Like in the state of Alabama, where voters chose Donald Trump by more than 30 points in November. You want to hear what they had to say at Republican Congressman Barry Moore's town hall when asked about Donald Trump's tariff policy?
So right now, what we just saw in a report is that we haven't seen inflation at all. If y'all saw the report,
that wasn't the question.
That wasn't the question.
So if there was inflation, you would see it.
Who pays the tariff? It's a question Caroline Levitt struggles with as well. Joining our coverage, Puck News chief political columnist and MSNBC national affairs analyst John Heilman's back. Also joining us, Democratic strategist, professor at Columbia University, MSNBC political analyst Basil Smikle's here. Heilman, you cannot manufacture. First of all, you can't take town halls and say that it's any more than a moment in time. But you also cannot manufacture discontent from like one corner of the country literally to the other over the same issues. Medicaid cuts, the big not so beautiful bill, tariffs and the prices going up, and a lot of voters acutely aware of things that I would put in the autocracy bucket, the lack of due process for people being deported, the lack of Congress doing their job. People have this maybe misplaced faith in checks and balances that have completely collapsed. Your thoughts on what you're hearing from actual voters?
Well, first of all, hey, Nicole. And second of all, you know, that last chant, which was who pays the tariffs, I can't help it myself, but I'm reminded of sitting at that table with you in 2017 or 2018, I'd say 2018 now, so 7 years ago, and sitting around the table asking the question when Trump kept talking about how Mexico was going to pay to build the wall. I remember sitting there with you and another guest saying, "Where are the pesos? Where
it was
are
Steve
the pesos?"
Schmidt. I remember.
It's the same.
No. So I remember. We'll pull the tape. But Steve Schmidt talked for so long that you and I were texting about how we could have gone to get coffee. But he landed on this incredible refrain: "There are no pesos. Mexico is not paying for the
pesos?"
Wall. Yeah. Yes.
Where are the pesos? But it was a
same liars.
Yes, it was a cri de coeur. And beyond the fact that there was a certain kind of harmony to that these two kind of things rhyme. Who pays the tariffs? Where are the pesos? Really the same lie in some ways, right? Because this is Trump basically saying, we're in one case, we're going to do this thing that's my pet project. Someone else is going to pay the bill. In this case, he's saying we're going to do my pet project on the tariffs. But of course, the other countries are going to pay the tariffs, which of course we all know is not true. But the other reason why it's resonant for me is that at that moment, we were just about to head into the 2018 midterms. We were a little closer to the midterms than we are now. But all of the stuff that Trump did in 2018 around, if you remember, he closed on the caravans, right? Fear-mongering about the caravans that were coming across the border. It did no good for Republicans in the House of Representatives. It did no good. There was a wipeout election in 2018, a Democratic wave. And I think this goes to your top point, right? Which is, as Matthew Dowd was saying the other day on the show we were on, if you see anecdotal evidence, but you don't have data, you kind of discount the anecdotal until the data comes in. If you see data without the anecdotal evidence, you can't really measure the passion of it. You see that the people are against a certain thing, but we don't know how salient it is. You don't know how revved up people are. But when you see a combination of data that shows a thing consistently over time, and you see these kinds of things at town hall meetings consistently over time, where people are very fired up, very revved up. I mean, you could pick one town hall meeting and say, well, that was a bunch of Democratic plants. There probably have been a couple of town hall meetings that were mostly Democrats and not Republicans. But over time, when you see it over and over again, all over the country on the same set of issues, that also shows up consistently in the polling, you have yourself a reality there. And I just, history tells us these things happen. It happened in 2018. It happened to Barack Obama in 2010. This kind of thing happens, and it's happening again.